Do you get the after lunch crash? Like an after dinner dip, but after you have lunch, even if it's a healthy lunch? And then maybe even get the urge to start to boost yourself up a little bit with some sugar or some extra coffee? Things like this? Yeah? Okay, well then pay attention, because I'm gonna share with you a very simple life hack to beat this pattern. So people know me as a breath teacher, as a breathing facilitator, which is in a way true, but I like to always remind myself that I'm not actually teaching breath. I'm teaching people how to live better with breath as the ultimate tool to help you live better and get the results that you want. And everywhere I go, where I teach, I ask people questions of which things would you like to improve about your life? And then I start to figure out how we can use the science of breath and the nervous system to start helping them perform better at these parts of their lives. And this is actually a very common topic. And I speak in all kinds of places, like I come in schools and hospitals, and I go to big corporations, big companies, teams of all kinds, special operations, athletes, like whatever it is. And in many of these places, I get a lot of the same questions. Actually, in all of these places, I get all of the same questions and issues that people want to improve on. Because what I basically do is I help people map out their day, map out their nervous system, and I ask them, hey, which parts of your day would you like to improve on? Or which parts of your day are you not in the state that you would like to be in? And one of the big ones is this one, which is right after lunch, people go, and even if they have a healthy lunch and they've been focusing on nutrition and they eat like a nice big salad, and then afterwards they feel themselves getting like a little bit groggy and brain foggy, and they can't really focus anymore. And these things like sugar, energy drinks, stimulants, they make them crash later on in the day, and very often also dysregulate sleep. So it's a negative pattern, and it's one you don't really want to be in. And a lot of people want to fix this. And it's actually very simple to fix this with breath. But first, we need to understand a little bit of why this happens. So if you look at the autonomic nervous system, you basically have two main gears. You have the sympathetic nervous system, which has all of the functions that have to do with activation, with alertness, with setting goals and reaching them, with focus, these kinds of things. And there's certain organs that activate when this part of your nervous system is active, and they mainly have to do with, for example, bringing blood to your muscles, to increase your clarity, having extra glucose in your blood, these kinds of things. So this is basically the part of your nervous system that you use for alertness, for going out there into the world. But this autonomic nervous system, evolutionarily, is of course very ancient, and it is built for us as hunter-gatherers. So this part of the nervous system in ancient times, so to say, right, evolutionarily, would come online if you go out on the hunt, if you go out and you need to be active and you need to protect your territory, find a mate, fight off competition, hunt and gather for food, and do whatever you need to do to promote your survival. So in this state, your digestive system is actually temporarily suppressed, right? Your digestive system actually comes online when you switch to this other state, which is called the parasympathetic nervous system, which is this other gear, or some people see it as the brake pedal of your nervous system, which isn't entirely accurate, but it works in a lot of ways. So when you come from outside, having done all your things, having reached your goals, having caught your prey or gathered your food or whatever it is you need to do, you come into your safe place. You know, as a hunter-gatherer, it might be your cave or your grass hut, or it might be just you coming home. And that's when you switch, or you want to be able to switch to another system, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. One thing that happens there is that your senses actually numb down a little bit, you become a little bit less alert, and your body starts to promote the activity of the organs that have to do with digestion or that play a role in digestion. So your digestive system comes online when you enter this parasympathetic state of the nervous system. Okay, so we have a sympathetic system which is active, alert, goal-mindedness, high energy states. And then we have this parasympathetic nervous system, which does digestion, resting, recovering, being present in the moment, and not being super alert. Now, we all have this experience, of course, that you come home from a day of work and you put your bag down and you smell the food and your mouth starts to water and your stomach starts to growl. Now, that is a very clear sign that your parasympathetic nervous system has come online and that your body is getting ready for resting and digesting. Right? So it's also called the rest and digest nervous system, whereas the sympathetic nervous system is the fight and flight nervous system. Now, we spend in our modern life most of our days in this fight-flight state, in this sympathetic state. We want to be alert, we want to be always on and always productive and always keep going. And This also means that when we do have a break, we're often still stuck in that state. So that means that if you go and you have lunch during your busy day and you quickly eat your lunch and you kind of wiggle it in between two meetings, or you even do one of those where you're still answering emails on your phone or on your laptop while you are eating your food, you're not actually accessing the physiological state that your body needs to promote the function of the digestive system and to actually digest your food. One thing you will notice then is that, of course, the body doesn't have really another option than to go into that state after you've eaten. So you're in this really high state and you're going from one thing to the other and you're hurrying and all these things. And then suddenly you enter a lot of food in your body, and this enters your stomach and enters your digestive system. And then the nervous system is like, well, okay, now we're going to have to quickly shift out of this sympathetic state into this parasympathetic state because we need to actually digest this food. And this means that internally in your body, energy is being allocated towards digestion, which means that there is less energy to be allocated towards alertness and clarity. So it is a perfectly natural response. If you eat a meal, a big meal or a healthy meal in a sympathetic state, then your parasympathetic nervous system will have to come online and you will feel less alert. And you're basically, by having this high activity of the sympathetic nervous system and then suddenly eating a big meal, you're crashing yourself into that system, which is very unpleasant. Now, a lot of people believe that after I've had a meal, I should get energy and I should be clear and ready to focus right away. But this is actually quite disrespectful to your nervous system, to your evolution, because once you crash yourself out of this alert and active state into this rest and digest state, your body is going to need time to rest and to digest. And this is why it can take 30 minutes or even up to an hour to digest the food and actually get energy from the food. And this usually lasts longer if you do not take the time to go into that parasympathetic state, right? So we're sympathetic state, alert, focused, active. We take a big meal, crash down into the parasympathetic system, and all our body wants is to stare out into the world, numb down the senses, not think about everything too much, and just kind of like nap and rest. But you're like, oh no, I am a modern human. I must always be on and always be active. So now I'm going to push myself into this much higher state of energy, even though my body is not ready for it. And of course, that only makes it last longer because now you're battling with your nervous system. You're at odds with your body. You're telling your body, give me this state, otherwise something is wrong. And this is really stressful. Now, one issue is, of course, that people start to compensate, like I said, with sugar and with caffeine. And this might work in the short term, but then you're also dysregulating your insulin system and you're giving yourself this psychoactive stimulant drug of caffeine that will, of course, be active for way longer after you need that 1 or 2 hours of focus after lunch, which means that in the evening, you will have to basically pay back to your body with interest the energy that you borrowed with quickly boosting it up with some sugar and caffeine. So this is not a good strategy. So here's the thing. The solution is to allow your body to switch to a more parasympathetic state consciously at the right pace so that when you eat, you're eating the food in a parasympathetic state. And in this state, your body can actually effortlessly or more easily digest this food, which means you get energy from your food and you do not need to prep yourself up with all of these externals. You can actually digest the food, get energy from it, and have really clear focus in the afternoon for the whole afternoon because you're actually using your food. Right? So it's an interesting thing. Even if you eat healthy food, if you eat it in the wrong state, it's extra stressful for your body. So the trick is you do a breathing technique before you eat lunch. Okay? So if you know, okay, I'm about to have lunch at noon, then before you take your first bite, take 5 minutes to do a simple breathing technique. And you can find all kinds of cool breathing techniques for this. On this channel, you'll find the one breath break and some of my videos. And all over the place, you can find box breathing. This is one of my favorites where you breathe in for 4 counts, you hold it for 4 counts, you breathe out for 4 counts, and you hold it for 4 counts. You repeat that 8 to 12 times. Or the amazing 4-7-8 breathing by Dr. Andrew Weil, where you breathe in for 4 counts, you hold it for 7, and you slowly blow out the air for 8 counts. And you repeat that for 4 to 6 times. Just 5 minutes of a simple breathing technique like this can help you shift into your parasympathetic nervous system. Now, how do you notice this? Well, you'll notice that you'll get a little bit more not necessarily tired, but you slow down and your senses numb a little bit and you want to go into more of a staring mode instead of focus. It's easier to feel your body, right? And then after you've done a few minutes of a breathing technique, you imagine eating your food. This is one of the most powerful things you can do. You do a breathing technique, you find yourself calm down, and then with your eyes closed for a minute or two, you visualize eating your favorite food. Or maybe even you visualize first going to the buffet or taking your lunch out of your bag or ordering your food and then smelling it. And then slowly you bring it to your lips and slowly you start to chew it. And then you chew it slowly and then you swallow it and you feel it enter your stomach. If you imagine that for just a minute or two, you will pretty much guaranteed feel your mouth start to water. You might even feel it now as I explain it. You will feel your stomach start to growl, your digestive system start to do its work and get ready for food. And then if you eat food, you will find that you will be more satiated, so you won't be as hungry anymore because your body actually accepts the food. It will be easier to digest, which means you will digest it faster and you will actually get energy from your food. Your body needs to slow down in order to be able to digest food. If you crash it into slow down mode with eating a giant meal, this is generally not the nicest sensation and it will give you this feeling of, oh man, I can't wake up, I can't get back to work, I'm not alert enough, and start to compensate with unhelpful things. But if you consciously slow down your body with your breath, then visualize the thing you're about to do, your body will be super receptive to the food and to the actual nutrition that is in the food. And you will probably find that you will no longer have this after lunch crash. And it is as simple as that. So please try it out. Let me know what it does for you. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Give this video a like, follow the channel, and I'll see you very soon. Peace out.